mezzeIQ, obviously we're thinking about how AI can support the food manufacturing industry. That's a big part of what we do, and it's a big part of what we try and stay abreast of within the industry. There's a few themes that have emerged as we've been talking about this internally, and I thought it might be quite useful to share that. Generally, and this seems like an obvious point, but artificial intelligence can affect almost any aspect of food manufacturing, and frankly the industry as a whole. I think it's worth looking at a few examples, I'll cover those in a bit, that demonstrate not only the broad potential of artificial intelligence, but some examples that get really specific, so it's more tangible and pragmatic how AI can be applied. I also want to sort of touch on some of the things that we're doing internally within mezzeIQ. They're a mixture of, again, very broad pieces of technology, very broad applications, and then some ultra-specific, but still very useful applications of AI. It's important to remember that there isn't one AI that will do everything for a food manufacturing business. There might be plans within the broader software world to bring out forms of AI that can be really generalized, but we're a long way off that being able to be applied to food manufacturing, even if that does come about. So right now for food manufacturers, it's about choosing the right AI tools for the right jobs. And it's also about going for the low-hanging fruit first. Go for the things that will have the most impact when you apply artificial intelligence. You don't have to build the machine learning model, the AI yourselves anymore. That's not a requirement. There are so many other businesses, there are so many tools out there that you can adapt, you can apply to your business. You don't have to build it from scratch. Those days are gone. For example, there's the tools that we've got here at mezzeIQ, but there's plenty of other providers that will provide tools specifically for manufacturing, for example, that could be very good on the production floor. And then there's tools around the analysis of some of the data you may be gathering. There's lots of collaborators out there on that same note, really. There's other businesses that can work with you, again, like ourselves, but there's plenty of others. But in the UK, that also goes to the UK government, it goes to the educational institutions. They're always looking for industry collaborations, and I think that's really worth considering. Basically, you're missing out if you're not starting to look at this now. I'm sure you've heard of this all before, but it is true. Progress is being made so fast that it would be a shame not to ride that wave along with everybody else. Finally, another couple of very obvious points, but you need to get ready for AI if you're not already. You may already be underway, you may be starting to think about data. I'll talk more about this later. You may be already starting to think about how you store data, but you need to start that process now because that will make the implementation process for AI much smoother. You can do this. Any business can do this. So don't let it pass you by, and don't imagine that it's going to be too much to handle. As a food manufacturing business, you may already be using artificial intelligence in some form. Some of the obvious examples are the AI meeting note takers that often get added to Zoom and Teams calls these days. So that's already an example of AI having an impact within a business. But the point is that it's helping us understand that it's already coming, it's already there for a lot of us. This isn't a huge shift in direction that your business needs to take. It's more about just being more mindful about the decisions you're making with artificial intelligence. Another example would be computer vision used in the factory, in the production process. So monitoring for defects, gathering data around production performance, that kind of thing. That sort of hardware and software obviously is already available. You may be using it. Within your marketing department, you might be using artificial intelligence to generate images. It could be pack shots, it could be ideas for new products. It could be helping in lots of different ways in the NPD process as well. And then all the way over to logistics, AI route optimization, something also we're looking at with mezzeIQ. You may already be using something like this. So we've gone past the hype around AI. It's already happening, and that's, I think, something to keep in mind. I picked out a few examples of some other food and beverage manufacturers and how they're using artificial intelligence. And they range from very, very big scale all the way down to very, very small scale again. So you can see the sort of breadth and depth in terms of the application of AI. Nestle, obviously very large organisation, their UK branch had a project recently to use AI to reduce waste. They partnered with FairShare and AI platform called Zest. I'll just give you some quotes here from the project. They're aiming to streamline and accelerate the process of matching available surplus food, including products and ingredients, to where there is demand. The end result is something that could be applied at scale across the entire food chain and offers commercial and charitable opportunities for the entire sector. So this is a very big undertaking, lots of data, but also lots of potential, especially in terms of food waste. So their process of tracking waste throughout the production cycle and analysing the data that was generated as a result of that led to an 87% reduction in edible waste over 2 weeks, with projections to direct 700 tonnes of surplus, equivalent to about 1.5 million meals, and also saves about £14 million in value and over 1,400 tonnes of CO2. That's pretty impressive. But that's a very large organisation. What about maybe something a bit smaller? So Rainer Foods, it's a client of mezzeIQ, one of the most innovative businesses within the food-to-go space. Their project was called Smart People, Smart Process, Smart Factory, or S3 for short. Again, this was about reducing waste, but also emissions within the whole of the production process. This was a huge undertaking for relative to the size of the business. Partly they were introducing new sensors, but there was also AI analysis of that data that was getting gathered. There was also this concept of a digital twin. So key pieces of machinery within the factory, a digital twin of those was set up so we can evaluate the impact of the work that it was doing. We could then estimate as to when failures would occur, what sort of maintenance cycle is appropriate, what sort of performance and efficiency we can expect from each of these pieces of equipment. All of this had to involve the close collaboration with the workers themselves. And in order to mitigate the impact of new processes, the team at Rainer's were highly engaged with the process. They were brought in to help design the new processes, design how they were going to track and monitor everything within the factory. So that involvement of the team was crucial to this being able to work within a business. So fast forward to the results of this project. They were able to reduce energy and emissions by about 19%. That then, in turn, removed over 400 tonnes of CO2, and they saved about £50,000 per month as a result of this new project. So even a relatively smaller business compared to Nestle is able to have a significant impact by employing AI in a very smart way. So a significantly smaller project was run by the bread factory. They're the people behind the Gales chain. They built a chatbot that would help train their 2,300 staff approximately and provide on-the-job support. Essentially what they did was point a chatbot at all of their internal knowledge base, all of the training manuals, the how-tos, the guides for production, the manuals for the equipment, the ovens, that sort of thing, so that the chatbot could provide answers to questions from the team there. So they could ask questions like, how do I operate this oven, or what's the process for baking a batch of muffins in the Leicester factory, just as examples. This is a relatively simple thing to do. Almost any business can do this if you've got digitized versions of the knowledge that's contained within your business. You can point a chatbot at it and it can then answer questions on your behalf for anyone else. So again, that's really about these sort of very specific but also very practical and a tangible benefit as a result of application of AI. So mezzeIQ is a branded online ordering and customer service portal specifically designed for the food manufacturing sector. What we do is streamline that process of B2B ordering and dealing with customer service issues and so on. It really minimises the need for human intervention in all of those workflows. For example, the end result is that we're reducing emails and phone calls by about 76% on average. As you can imagine then, there's a huge amount of really valuable data that's coming through the platform. We have then been able to use that data to train our own machine learning models, our own AI, in order to do some specific things within the platform that bring more benefits to our clients. A great example of that is what we call AI order creation. And this was a project that was also funded by Innovate UK, the UK government's arm for support with innovation, of course. And the goal of the AI ordering piece was to make better ordering decisions than human beings, factoring in things like weather, food trends, location, local events, that kind of thing. The theory being that the model could, if it knows enough about the wastage that was generated as a result of orders, could make better ordering decisions in the future compared to a human being. And it turns out that was the case. And so that was obviously something we were keen to roll out to our clients and make sure that they were receiving the benefit of that and their customers were able to make better ordering decisions. Another great feature is AI order reminders. Essentially what we're doing is analysing the behaviour of our clients' customers, and we're spotting how often and when they order. If we detect that they seem to be about to miss a cut-off time that they would normally hit, then we'll send them a message, we'll send them a notification that says, hey, you've usually ordered by now, do you need to get this in before your cut-off time elapses? So that alone has saved about 30% of otherwise missed orders for our clients, which is hugely powerful. That more than covers the cost of mezzeIQ, so it's a great feature. One of the ideas that mezzeIQ brings is the concept of prompting customers before they miss their cut-off time to make sure they get their order in. That's a really powerful feature, and related to that is the ability for mezzeIQ to suggest to those same customers an order that they think that it thinks is appropriate for that customer's delivery point. So that can really speed the process along for the customer, and it results in orders that are more likely to be sold at retail and not wasted. Plenty of food and beverage manufacturers still receive orders and communications from their customers through essentially text or WhatsApp message. So in order to help support our clients with that kind of engagement with their customers, we've built a chatbot that can have those conversations with the customers on behalf of the manufacturer. If a customer is making an order for the next day, for example, the chatbot can clarify what products they're trying to order. That in turn reduces mistakes, and it certainly reduces the need for customer service to be involved in figuring out what these customers are trying to order, making sure it's correct, and then placing it into the back-end systems for the manufacturer. So that's quite a powerful tool. It's really exciting when customers can ask more information about products, for example. They might ask the provenance of a meat product as one example. And that's just really, it's just the tip of the iceberg into how far we can go with something like this. We can also use that same technology to filter voicemails and interpret what the customer was intending to order and either clarify with the customer or pass that through to customer service for entering into the system. So again, it's about using AI in very targeted ways to solve specific problems, and in those scenarios, it's very powerful indeed. I'm sure you've seen that AI, particularly large language models, is particularly good at is summarizing text, speech, and making it more accessible and more condensed. So what we can do with the data within mezzeIQ, for example, is provide a report, a summary, an executive summary, if you will, weekly, monthly, whatever frequency we want. That gives a general overview of how the business is performing, what sort of event issues have come up in the last period, It can highlight trends, it can highlight customers that seem to have a problem, customers that are doing very well, products that are doing very well. And that's a really powerful thing that can be automated, of course. So we can touch on order volume, we can touch on revenue, we can look at trending products, quality issues, delivery issues, it could be anything. And that's a very sort of low cost, low difficulty feature that AI can help with. I've made a note of a few practical things that most food manufacturing businesses can do to boost efficiency, boost accuracy, and even boost revenue by using artificial intelligence. Some of these are very simple, some are a little bit more complex, but they're all very accessible. One obvious application is to point a chatbot at your knowledge base, just like Gales have done with their Bread GPT. That allows then your team or anyone else, if you wish, to ask questions of the chatbot, which is going to provide answers based on all of the knowledge that's accumulated within your business. So that's useful for training staff. It's useful as a resource internally, more generally as well. You could use generative AI, so the creation of ideas to support new product development. So that could be recipe concepts, it could be creating the nutritionals from a recipe, it could be photography. And that bleeds into the design, the marketing department. Again, they could be using Gen AI to create pack shots and crossover the MPD is ideas for products. You could visualize those very quickly with Gen AI models. By that same token, we could use a chatbot to automate orders and queries from customers through WhatsApp, for example. That reduces mistakes, increases the likelihood of an order coming through, and so on. It's useful to identify within the business admin-heavy, repetitive tasks. Those are great opportunities for an AI to automate the process. So creating documents, summarizing content, converting content from one format to another. Those are the kinds of things, there's a kind of paperwork, admin tasks that AI can handle very well now. I think it's useful to think about production as well. So monitoring waste both in production and at the point of sale, if that's possible. If you can analyze that, if you can track that, there's quite a lot you can do with AI to anticipate wastage, and obviously with the goal of reducing that over time. Demand forecasting has been around for a while, but I think that can get a lot more powerful now with some of the AI models that can be applied to that same data. Obviously that can make production planning much more efficient, less wastage in the production process. That's a good thing. And then finally, another thought around automating quality inspections. That's using computer vision, cameras hooked up to AI systems that can analyze the quality of the product as it rolls off the production line. Could even be packaging and other sort of safety issues as well involved in that. So that's a sort of broad set of practical approaches for implementing AI within the business. I've been thinking about what would be useful to consider if you are a food manufacturing business that is looking to evaluate some AI solutions. There's a few points here that they're all sort of equally valid and important. Obviously, cost is a factor, so you need to understand the cost of the solution, obviously. But are there hidden costs? Are there costs that will be increased as the rollout develops, as more volume is put through the platform? There's often scaling costs that can creep in. So you need to make sure that you're aware of those at the start. Related to that is the return on investment. Again, it's very important that you're clear on what that will be. What are the projections over how many years? How can you measure it? How can you be sure of the accuracy of those measurements? And obviously press the supplier to demonstrate what's been achieved previously with their solutions. It's important to think about the usability of the AI solutions, and when we talk about the usability, we mean for the people that will be deploying it, will be working with it, will be looking at the results of it. So what's the impact on the workforce? Will they need training? Will they need comforting around job security? that sort of thing. Once the AI is in place, does that then create bottlenecks somewhere else within the business that also will need addressing? There's the security of the data that's being gathered, stored and processed by the AI products, the AI solution. Where's that data going? Where's it going to be stored? Who's got access to the data? Those are all important questions. And finally, it's really important to think about getting ready for that solution in terms of the data that you hold. So are you storing data correctly? Is it in the right place? Is it in the right format? Usually there's some work to do to improve that, to clean up the data, to improve your processes before a solution can be rolled out successfully. However, having said all that, that's the right thing to do for a food manufacturing business anyway. That should be part of the digital transformation process, is making sure you've got the data stored correctly in the right place. That brings other benefits to the business in efficiency, traceability and so on. So that's actually worth doing. But yeah, those are the sort of top considerations when you are evaluating some AI solutions for your business. If you're interested in learning more about some of these topics, you'd like to explore how they can be applied to your business, then feel free to reach out to me, Simon Boss, mezzeIQ, on LinkedIn.